Greetings, everybody, and welcome once more to the Dracovin Empire. Are you ready to head into the Demiplanes of Dread? Yes, Ravenloft calls for us once more today. We will be learning about an interesting individual because they're no longer bound to Ravenloft. In fact, they've ascended to God. Yes, today you will join me in learning about Vecna. So if you are ready to go and head to the Demiplanes of Dread, I have found a way to break through the mists, to take us there safe, and to return. But you must hold my hand, be guided by me. Your host here, Dracovin. Please do remember to tip your host, like subscribing the bell, and let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. We are going to be heading through those mists, and I could leave you behind if you're not careful. So grab my hand. And now we go to Ravenloft. The Demiplanes of Dread are ahead of us. Now, Vecna. An interesting character because he arrived in earlier editions as a powerful lich, and over the course of 2nd edition ascended to godhood, to become a god of secrets and magic in 3rd edition. Deeply tied to, of course, the realm of Oath, the planet, which is Greyhawk. So, let's all learn about it. And there are some sources that can go deeper into some information about him, and some adventures that deal not only with his ascent, but big story moments, and his rise to godhood. Domains of Dread is the one I used for the most bit of information on how he was in Ravenloft, but Vecna Reborn, Vecna Lives, and Die Vecna Die are all 3 adventures that deal with it. The Vecna Reborn is dealing with him going there. The Vecna Lives is an earlier bit of him, and the Die Vecna Die, in fact, deals with his ascension to godhood. So these are all big adventures, those 3, that revolve around Vecna, and his ascension to godhood, his capture in Ravenloft, what's going on in Ravenloft. It's a lot of stuff there. But again, if you just want the basic information on his domain when he was in Ravenloft, Domains of Dread is your best one. And there's a reason why we don't have a 5th edition book about it, which I'll talk about here in a minute. We don't. Vecna. Well, this is Vecna how he appeared in 2nd edition. Early on. This would have been described as when he was not mortal, but lich, perhaps. I'm only going to go over some basics of his life as a mortal, because it's complex. His exact origins on Oath are kind of muddled. There's rumors maybe he's a human, maybe he's half-elf. We know he became a powerful wizard. Perhaps his seeking of immortality related to his mother's death. How he learned about undeath, maybe from Orcus, maybe from some other means, maybe sacrificing some means to a ritual. Regardless, though, the fact is eventually Vecna became lich. And he was a powerful spellcaster. It's just the fact that his origins, his early time, are muddled with information. He battled against lots of powerful things. He made deals with half-demons. He attempted to conquer all of Oath. Things didn't go well because one of his early generals, a half-demon named Sararak, basically betrayed him. Terrible there. So, he began to basically seek ascension after this first betrayal. And that's when he gained his most trusted ally, Kos. A powerful paladin. Anti-paladin, I would say, at this point in time, technically. Vecna conquered a large area in Oath. And Kos basically gained longevity, similar to a vampire, and a powerful sword of Kos. Kos' eventual ascension to vampirehood is kind of up in the air about when it exactly happened from the little bit of research I did. It may have been when Demiplanes, basically the dark powers, kind of engulfed something. It may have been during this time period. But regardless, though, basically the powerful sword of Kos, the artifact that Vecna created for Kos, seduced him with his power and turned Kos against Vecna. The two of them did battle in the Rotted Tower, Vecna's domain, and basically destroyed each other. All that was left, because during this time Kos cut off his hand, stabbed out his eye, there's an explosion, And all that remained was sword, a hand, and eye. And that became the three great artifacts, the Sword of Kos, the Hand of Vecna, and the Eye of Vecna. So Vecna was theoretically killed. Kos was theoretically killed. Kos theoretically was actually banished to Cavitius, a realm, basically, or Vecna was trying to banish him to that to try to avoid his own destruction. It didn't work. Vecna became more of a spiritual being. Kos was kind of in prison somewhere. Yeah. So Vecna wasn't dead-ish. Vecna had been on the path to gaining some semblance of divinity. And so he, on this path, basically used his new spiritual essence that he was to influence people and gain worshippers, and basically, during this time, ascended to be a demigod. He managed to get demigod status. Cool for him. That was the easy part. But he wanted more. He wanted to become a larger god, a true god. You know, more than just a demigod. Full deity. So, basically, the long story short of it, again, to keep things a little bit simple, he attempted to speak divinity. It failed. It did, in fact, revolve around him influencing Sigil the City Doors. So keep that in mind, that there was a connection with his attempts at divinity, but that is something to worry about a little later. But for now, we'll talk about that. Basically, this was his first attempt at deity. We'll talk about multiple attempts at becoming a deity until eventually became one, because he did try actually a few times. Not to mess around with them and get them confused. He had a goal. Anyway, he attempted to tie himself with Oath, in particular to Cavitius, his realm in Oath, where Kos was actually basically hidden, captured. His tying himself to a physical realm when he was a spiritual demigod actually opened himself up to the Demiplanes of Dread and the dark powers connected to that, because he was something that had basically tempted them in a way. He's very much so the kind of being that Ravenloft loves to capture and keep in its dark Demiplanes of Dread, in the dark planes there. And so, opening himself up to this now, he basically got himself trapped and led himself to this area known as the Burning Peaks, where it's two nations, Cavitius and Tovak. He rules Cavitius. Kos, now free, leaves Tovak. And he became an eternal war between the two in Ravenloft. Let's talk Ravenloft, his ascension, basically things like that. So yeah. Here's where we're keeping things a little simple. In Ravenloft, this is what his lore is basically in there. He's basically being held there. The thing is, he is still a demigod. You can't get that, but the thing is, Ravenloft can limit his power to a degree. It only holds it basically in check and prevents him from escaping. He is still a demigod, can basically not be slain by mortal means, and is an incredibly powerful being. Yeah. This is not his full ascension. He is still incredibly powerful, and he basically wants to murder off Kos, his traitor, who's there on the other side of the Burning Peaks, mocking him for existing, in internal war with him that he's not winning. So Vecna's pissed off, and perhaps hasn't figured out a way to break Ravenloft's hold, because he is incredibly powerful because of that. That was the storyline as to if you were going to be doing this in 2nd edition, if you're taking place in Cavitius, in the Burning Peaks. Why Vecna is there. He's pissed, he's angry, he's lashing out, he's, not seeing straight, perhaps, enraged by everything that's going on here. His anger at Kos is preventing him from formulating a proper plan. So he can close borders, but he can't close it between him and Tovek. The burning, the big mountains are the only thing that blocks it. And then, of course, in 2nd edition, they do mention possible combat with him. But they're like, yeah, he's a demigod. Why are you trying to fight him? He's not only like an incredibly powerful lich, he's also a demigod with divine abilities. What the hell are you trying to do? I do like that kind of one. So, what happens next? Well, this is why there isn't any new lore on Vecna in 5th edition. Because he leaves. And this is his 4th edition appearance, which is actually my favorite of the images. I like this better than the 5th edition version of him. I think this is a really cool version. So basically, he has 2 attempts. There is the adventure, which takes him to Sigil, where he actually breaks into Sigil. He's the first divine being to manage to basically break into Sigil, escape the multiverse, and this is getting out of Ravenloft into it. Eventually stopped by the Lady of Pain with the help of some adventurers. But yeah, after that, he does finally manage to ascend to God. And hence why we really can't. And here's his 5th edition version, which is, I think it's pretty cool, but it's not. I like the 4th edition version. But yeah, so Vecna's a god now. And I'm not really going to deep dive into Vecna the god. That's not really why we're here. We're talking about if I wanted to use, historically, like go back in time and do an adventure with when Vecna was in Ravenloft, what would I do? Especially in newer editions. How would I adapt this? And having information on what is going on there and what Vecna is important for that. Because, yeah, for a time period, Vecna was a Darklord. Now we have to talk about his realm, because his realm exists. It might not anymore. We'll have to talk about that a little bit. But, yeah. Let's talk about Cavitius. Now this is the entire Burning Peaks. Like, it's kind of like a microcluster, because these 2 domains are connected to each other. For good reason. You know, it's Ravenloft and the Domains of Dread are meant to torment those that they empower. They empower their Darklords, give them a realm, but the realm is also meant to be both a prison and a torment, and, like, enhance their dark abilities. It's this weird fallacy of, like, you're getting stronger, you're being nigh immortal, you're getting super powerful, but you're trapped there and in a torment or something, you know. It's an interesting kind of thing. So, Cavitius sucks. I'm not gonna lie. You got the Burning Peak separating these 2 realms, and if you're in Cavitius, sorry, I've been saying it a little bit wrong. Cavitius. It's also known as the Ashen Wastes. It's this horrible desert of death. It kills everything. No magical healing works in the Ashen Wastes. Not even magical. You can't heal. The only place is the capital, the Citadel of Cavitius, where you can hope to heal. If you spend an hour outside the Citadel, it basically drains you a negative level. In 2nd edition, that would drain you a hit dice or a level, but the effective reason is you gain a negative level for each hour you're outside there. If you go to 0, you die, you become a desert zombie under the control of Vecna. And then, of course, you have the Burning Peaks, which are a constant, active, volcanic series. Lava, ash, acidic water, tremors, avalanches. Yeah. Maybe you're out of the desert area of ash that drains your life away. Now you're in the volcano. Enjoy! So really, the Citadel, Cavitius, is the only place to go to. A somber, gloomy place where 10,000 men and women live. Occasionally demi-human, but they're not the native beings of this realm. And there are some roads that actually branch out across the waste and head to the Burning Slopes. And basically allow a movement into Tovag. Those roads are the only other places you can go to, because those roads are also protected from the death of the area. But as soon as you step off that road, you start dying again. But the roads are also drenched in blood, because, hey, armies keep marching on these roads to go attack the other one. And Tovag has been more on a defensive war, but Vecna constantly is trying to attack there on the opportunity they've held. here's a nice picture of the city. And this is from the Vecna Reborn Adventure Path has a good picture of this citadel, the map of it. A map like this. So you can see it is actually kind of skull-shaped. Interesting. So, the thing is, the citadel itself is a place devoid of hope and emotion. The people there do have free will, though. Or they've been broken in their spirits and obey Vecna and his minions without question. So, yeah. Vecna... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't go over all the titles Vecna had. I really should have done that. There are some great ones. Master of the Spider Throne, the Maimed Lord, the one named only in Whispers, the Whispered One, the Dying King, and of course in Ravenloft, the Chained God. Forgot all his titles there for a second. They are wonderful and great. So, if you don't worship Maimed Lord Vecna, you invite torture and death. And he's got his agents, the Figures of Vecna, going out there. Basically enforcers of the Church of the Whispered One, who are basically bullies and thugs. The thing is, Vecna isn't an idiot. He doesn't fear mortals, but, you know, after what happened with his imprisonment, he's not taking any chances. It's like, you guys can't really do anything to me, but just in case you figure something out, swoosh. You know? Magic within the Citadel is punishable by death. Except priests who draw power from worshipping him! He's a demigod, who can give priests some powers. So, yeah. And of course, constantly sending those forces to go attack Tovag and Kos. And the thing is, those passes, those roads into the Burning Peaks, Kos got them locked down. So his undead armies haven't had advantage. They got numbers, but Kos's forces hold the passes in such a way they can't take advantage of their numbers. They channel them and are able to defeat them every time. And these horrible bloody clashes, where neither side gains an advantage, continue as long as both of them are imprisoned. Continue for all time. Or it would. But Vecna does eventually regain his head and figure out how to escape. And in doing so, does his first attempt to regain deity and attack Sigil. That leads him away from Ravenloft. Of course, this won't be his last attempt, and he does do what he got out to do. Vecna is a deity now. He gained that power. He sought it. He sought to ascend from demigodhood to true divine deityhood, and he has. By 3rd edition, he is a god. He managed that. And he still remains that way to today. So he has an interesting story that way, that he has managed to do that. His existence also does connect Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, in a lot of ways. It's interesting because we see him in Forgotten Realms as a demon. He comes from Greyhawk. It's just his connections and interesting ability that even now in 5th edition, he still kind of reaches that difference. And again, I didn't go into full depths on his early days. I didn't go full depths into his time as a god already that we know. But we do know he's ascended, and he basically is a malign force, lesser deity, in the multiverse, as it is. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed diving into him and learning about his time as a Darklord in Ravenloft. Though, you do have to remember, his realm. I didn't mention it. Perhaps now I can just move. Whatever happened to it? Well, when Vecna left, perhaps it found a new Dark Master. Or maybe it just dissolved in the mist. So certainly speaking, maybe there's a new Darklord, a former servant of Vecna's who's taken his place, worships his master from them. the cult of Vecna still may remain. And, of course, we'll have to talk a little bit about Cass and his stuff at a future date. But we'll leave that for another video. For now, what's going on there? Does it still exist? All these kind of things? Who knows? Anyway. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you will join me for more Ravenloft in the future. Remember to check out all my other stuff, whether it's me putting stuff up on my YouTube side of things, or me recording stuff live over on Twitch, or streaming over on Twitch. The YouTube side of things, hey, remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, as I said earlier, appease the algorithms, and let me know, what is your experience with Vecna more as a deity? I mean, he shows up in more popular media now. Stranger Things, Dead by Daylight. So Vecna has expanded a lot more. But of course, also, it's one of those things. His showing up in other places kind of makes sense. He was, after all, a Darklord of Ravenloft. Do remember to check me out when I'm over on Twitch too live. That's me recording tabletop videos, live plays, discussing tabletop Saturdays at 6. We'll talk about this the week. And doing some gaming with friends occasionally here too. Do some variety. You'll check and hang out, maybe chat. Social media. Discord. Bluesky. Twitter/X. That's the order that I usually have priority on those. Hey, just that's where you find out messages from me, what's going on, updates on that schedule, what's going on in the week, and, you know, some tactics occasionally. Just, hey everybody, hope you had a great time here. Hope you'll join me for more Ravenloft in the future, or more video topics. But until the next time we join and talk about all these things, I do bid all of you out there a deep and wonderful farewell.